victory in the fight. Cincinnati roars loud on this drag racing night. Burnout clouds rise, rubber kisses the ground. Echoes of revs breach the city with pound. Tuning under
whatever lane it's in, whatever pair it is, that's where it's at, okay? And she'll do, at the end of the round, she'll draw chips. And she ain't, I mean, just know at the end of the round, if you want to be there for chip draw, you need to be wherever Kinsey's at. She's probably going to be right up here in this area, I would say. Had a question about index buy runs. So write this down, take notes, whatever. I'm going to keep it in my notes for the rest of the year. The tower will draw on as needed buy, okay? So they've already drawn buys, they've already announced them, okay? If you didn't hear it, I believe she has the buy written down in her pocket, whatever. If you don't use the buy in round 1 and it comes up in round 2, you use your buy, we'll draw another one. If you don't use it the first 4 rounds and it's the semifinals and you haven't used it, guess what? You got a buy to the finals. Congratulations. That's how buys on index works. Okay, does everybody understand that? Quick lap. Call to the lanes. When we call you the lanes, please show up. Everybody, and it never fails. Every time I give someone kudos, congratulations, whatever, it comes back to bite me. Don't let it happen tonight. Everybody at this track has been very good about coming to the lanes. It's been awesome, okay? Starting last year, it's been great. So please keep that up. So we call you to the lane.
Right lane. Make sure you remember the lanes you're supposed to be in.
Yeah, I'll go over lane assignments and run order here momentarily. Actually right now. OG 28s will be in lane number 4. Small tire in lane 7 and 8. Hard tire will come back to lane 4. 13.0 index 5 and 6. 1150 index 3 and 4. 650 index 7 and 8. And test and tune will be in lane number 2 after the second round's completed. So at the end of round number 2, if you're out and you want test runs, go to lane number 2. We'll call for test and tune at the end of every round, okay? As we go through the night, we might change the run order just a little bit and set the heads up classes out, okay? Which means index will come right back up. If you were here last month, you understand how that works. And I think we did it last year too. And we've done really well with it. Nobody's really complained about it. So I'm assuming it's working. Everybody wants to get out of here at a decent time. So call you the lanes, everybody comes up. When we say go, when we call you out, come to the ready line. You gotta go, okay? You got eyes, you know what the run order is. That was in order, but I just said lane assignments, that was in the order. OGs, small tire, true street, hard tire, 13.0, 1150, 650, test and tune. That's the run order. When we call for you, you gotta be ready to go. If you can't go, you can't start your car. At any time you have any problem throughout the burnout process, you'll have a 2-minute clock, okay? At the end of that 2 minutes, if you can't continue, you're out, all right? During that 2 minutes, I'll go and ask the other driver, hey, can he have your 2 minutes? He or she have your 2 minutes? If they say yes, great. If not, man, don't go cussing them later, okay? If they shut their car off, especially Phil Hines, and he can't start his car back up.
You know better than that. I'd shut this race down, and I've done it.
If he shuts his
I've done it.
If he shuts his car off and can't get it started back up, then he's going to be out too, okay? So don't fault somebody if they say, nah, man, I can't. I'm having a problem. You know, we don't know what their problem is. Not going to get into it. Just know that if you want to give that person your 2 minutes, you can. You don't have to, all right? Staging. Happy will go over staging. Obviously, if you go red or jump, you're out. If you cross the center line, you're out. If you hit your wall, you can ride it all the way to the finish line as long as it's in your lane, okay? If we come and check your car and say it can't continue, and you can't continue, okay? If you knock the whole front end over 4 inches and you're going to try to make a pass down the track, I'm going to say, okay? Same goes with leaks. okay? Scares me to death. I see someone leaking and we send a car anyway, okay? So that's over with and done. If we see you leaking a steady stream, guess what? You're done, all right? You're out. And it might make you mad, and that's fine, okay? But just remember, while you're pissed off and cussing me, you're gonna load your car back into the trailer and we're not gonna have to put it in with the tractor, okay? So, cuss me, I'm a big boy, I can take it. I'm gonna remind you when it's over and done with what you did, okay? Turn off the end of the track, be respectful when you come up the lanes. If you're mad, don't show it. Don't drive up through the lanes 50 miles an hour, whipping it. They're drag cars, they're not made to do that. All right, so don't do it. Plus people's kids are riding around. Change the what?
All right, so with the car count, we are going to allow index to do buybacks. So,
First time we ever done
so
Okay.
it. Send them
we're
out
going to
first.
send them out first. And then,
All the heads up classes been following behind it, being one hit.
All right, so that changes a little bit.
Changes.
sorry.
I don't know if you heard that or not. Index, guess what? There's going to be first round buybacks. Also, small tire, OGs, True Street, you're going to get one time run.
Hold on, I need to see True Street, hard tire, and budget small tire.
Do you know how the car count yet?
Have you got
We got 9 and OGs.
True Street.
Oh, really? Big as shit.
Real quick, I got one more thing I got to cover. Payouts. Everybody ask about payouts. You'll see Cincy at the end of the night, okay?
No?
All right, real quick, I'll go over the change in run order and lane assignments. This is the way we're going to call them up. The lane assignments are going to stay the same, okay? 13-0, 1150, 650, okay? At the end of the round, test and tune's still going to run. So first group out is going to be 13-0, 1150, 650. Then we'll go to OG 28s. True Street. I'm sorry, OG 28 small tire, True Street, okay? So 13-0, 1150, 650, OG, small tire, True Street. That is the run order. Lane assignments stay the same. There are first round buybacks for index.
How much?
For 650, 35, and then 1150 and 13-0, you're 25.
Back at the shack still. Where do you pay that at?
Remember, OG 28, small tire, and True Street are on a time run. They're first round out.
Has anybody that has ran OG 28s or small tire or True Street or hard tire never ran off my headlamp? It's racing here tonight.
So,
The staging process is you're going to turn on your top bulb, just be at an idle. You're going to turn on the bottom bulb, both vehicles, and the tree's going to go green. I'm going to turn around. I'm already going to have asked you guys who wants to come in first, who wants to come in second. When the tree goes green, I'll look at the guy who wants to come in first, raise my left arm up, my right arm will be behind my back. When I hear the car come up, I'm gonna lock you in. I'll go to the second guy, listen for the same thing, lock him in. At any time the second car is locked, my arm could be over here, to my side, behind my back, go off the green. If we think it's a jump and it's a close call, we will have tire crack cameras. We'll go to the tire crack. We'll also show you on our tire crack the reason why we're making the call. The finish line is the stripe. So we use the tree so that it gives us a wind light at the big end. We don't have a finish line guy down there, and that's just another equation to a bad night, bad call. So it's really, really simple on the way it works. The headlamp on my head will be green tonight. It'll be bright green.
Index on the tree.
Index is instant green. Everything's instant green besides the heads up classes that I fly.
Does anybody have any questions about anything before we get started? Sorry?
Deep stage on index?
No. If you deep stage on index, the
Goes
tree will go
red.
red. And if the tree doesn't go red, you're still out. Don't deep stage. Don't knock the bulb out. 650 index specifically, okay? There's been a question about throttle stops. At any time, probably not after your burnout. But at any time, from the time you turn off the track to the time that you turn into the water box, at any time we can ask you to open your hood, okay? Anytime. And I promise you, it's gonna happen tonight, okay? If you're gonna protest somebody, you need to make it very clear.
If you're caught cheating, you're out. One race.
You need to make it very clear what you're doing, okay? Not, hey, well, you know, someone such and such. No, because you're going to go back tomorrow morning and get on Facebook and start typing away about how someone was cheating and you said something about it. You need to do it right then and there, okay?
I think it's kind of odd though. We normally average 30 cars in 650, and I made it very clear on Facebook the past week that we were going to tech for throttle stops. We got 15 cars tonight. So I think somebody, I'm not saying that there has been any throttle stops, but I'm saying I think there has been some throttle stops. And once we made it clear we're going to tech, but I think we should have. We've missed it a couple times, and we got to get better on that.
The whole pneumatic throttle check or whatever the deal is, I don't want to see nothing, okay? You're dead heads up, gangster 650 index racers. So act like it. Drive your car in off the street, throw some slicks on it, race 650. No throttle stops. Whatever you do with it, whatever. Pull it off the trailer, whatever. Just don't have a throttle stop.
Oh, absolutely not.
Thanks everybody for coming after a rough 2 weeks here.
And we may have 10 in OG 28s. Sounds like they just fired it up.
All right, so we want to go ahead and call index up.
I got another question. You mentioned this. What about restrictor plates?
I'm not worried about it.
Restrictor plates are legal.
Okay.
That's legal.
Okay.
And what he's talking about under the gas pedal is maybe a switch, but if you got a bolt run up through the bottom and it's limiting your pedal, I mean, that's mechanical. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's a restrictor plate.
Steal off and throttle to the no air cylinder.
As long as there's no
air cylinder.
assist.
That's how my daddy kept from spending a lot of gas money back in the day. He put a bolt up through the floorboard.
I took that bolt out and plugged this motor out.
How long did it take you to figure out how to take the bolt out?
How long did it take to push it right through the floor?
You never passed anybody, did you?
Maybe the first hour he was out with it. All right, so we're ready to call index to the lane.
Yep.
All right, 13-0 index.
Speed in there for those. Go, let's go. Power side left lane, no lane. In the Camaro.
Down under, like, get the rear end.
This is 1307. Great tour. Pick him up, Ryan Lynn. Never done this game before ever. Never done this game before ever. Everybody's got a tough one here. Get the tour. OG 28. Stand by car. OG 28.
Can't even see the car. Boy is smoking. 513 Pinky. We have Matt over here with the live camera going on the new tripod. Where'd you get those earplugs at?
My boy.
Dude, those things are brutal. Heck yeah, if you have an extra pair.
Here's how nice.
Thank you. Talking about the green one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, dude. I was right there when it was burning out.
We'll have to pick some up for next time so we have them too.
How's she running, Zach?
Well, first pass and ever racing, so learning, I guess. Had to change the oil.
Lock that thing in there.
We had some problems.
You good?
Yeah,
Both of them?
we had some problems, but we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. Good luck out there, you guys. How you guys doing tonight?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I'm guessing you're driving this bad boy tonight, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you? Nice. What are you running in this thing?
It's the OG 28 class.
Are you 28 class?
If you're asking for numbers, you're not getting
This thing is freaking gorgeous, man. Good luck out there, dude. right, we're here at Edgewater, and we're here with
No Prep Outlaw Mafia.
Sweet dude. Yeah, everybody subscribe to his channel. He's good stuff. So how do you think tonight turned out, dude?
Tonight was amazing. We had a little bit of drama, but other than that, Edgewater Motorsports Park is the place to be.
And stay tuned for the next video. Thank you guys so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.